Hello planty friends, thank you so much for joining me today. Please grab a drink with me because today is Earth Day. Happy Earth Day. Good old water. So for my 2023 Earth Day video, I wanted to focus on a motto that I think is pretty common, and that is the term reduce, reuse, and recycle. This motto is very commonly used when talking about recycling, but I think it can also be associated with environmentalism and sustainability, some things I'm really passionate about. So in my video this year, I wanted to kind of break down what each of those words mean and then how we can apply them in our everyday life. So before we get started, I just wanted to throw out there that this is not meant to call out anybody or criticize anybody or anything that anybody does. This is just more one to talk about something that I am passionate about. I love this topic. And two, maybe it'll spark some new ideas in you and maybe also just bring more awareness because everybody just does what they can. Again, this is not meant to criticize. It's just more, it's for fun. This is for fun. So to start off, the order in which these words are ordered is no accident because as a person, we do want to think about, one, how can I reduce my footprint on this earth? How can I reuse the things that I have bought until they are at the end of their life cycle? And then how can I recycle that item so it can continue on its life cycle instead of land in a landfill? So I'm going to jump right into this first word, which is reduce. What does that mean? And when we think of reducing in this motto, we want to decrease the amount of waste we create and leave behind. Pretty much everything that we do leaves a footprint and leaves waste on this earth. When we buy clothes, when we buy food, when we drink coffee, everything that we do needs to have materials from our earth resourced to us. So it's like, how can we reduce that impact? My cat just knocked into my stand. So to kind of put myself in this mindset, I like to ask the question, do I really need, insert whatever here, do I really need to buy these adorable black pair of shorts when I know that I have 5 pairs of shorts sitting at home unworn? Probably not. Do I need to pump out my shampoo until it's basically like running off of my hand and most of it's running into the water drain? Do I need to use that much shampoo? Probably not. I can probably use one pump and that'll wash my hair. Or maybe I can switch to a shampoo bar and eliminate a plastic bottle entirely. It's just the mentality of what can I do to reduce the waste that I create. So as a plant parent, one thing that I noticed is that I use a lot of water and extra water because that's what my plants eat. They eat water and, other things, but they like the water to survive. So because of that, my water bill did go up and I started collecting rainwater. This eliminated the need for me to use so much of the tap water. It did reduce my water bill a little bit, so that was a nice added bonus, but I am able to use the natural water that our earth provides for us to water my plants, again, eliminating the need for me to use quite so much of my tap water, which is great. And I know not everybody can do this. I know, again, it's just do the best you can. And then just as a person overall, one of the new things that I have been trying to do, or my husband and I have been trying to do, is cut down on our food waste. So we were, I would say, pretty good about planning 5 meals for us to cook a week. And then we were pretty good at grocery shopping for those meals, but we were not pretty good at cooking all of those meals. More often than not, I didn't say a lot, but some of the food did go to waste because we would go out to eat or we would just eat leftovers because we weren't feeling like cooking. So instead of planning 5 meals a week and having 2 of those meals ingredients go to waste, we are going to try to only plan 2 meals a week and then plan our other meals based off of the ingredients left over from those first 2 meals. And we have already done this once and it worked out pretty well. And I think it really cut down on our food waste. So I hope that that trend continues and that we can continue to do the 2-a-week planning and then kind of improv the rest of our meals for the week. Okay, moving on to the next word, and that is reuse. And this is basically using what you already have, repurpose what you already have. For instance, I have mentioned this before, but I do love to use takeout containers as watering vessels. I also use takeout containers as food bowls for my foster cats, because a part of fostering is that these cats do have to be separated from my other animals for 2 weeks, just in case they have fleas or anything else that can infect my animals. So unfortunately, they are cooped up in a small space for a little bit of time, and they get bored, which means they like to fling stuff around. My point being, go ahead and fling around that plastic leftover container bowl as much as you want. Go ahead, because when they throw around my ceramic bowls, that's not as fun. That's not as fun to do. So I like to use leftover takeout container as a quick watering method and as bowls for my foster cats. On top of that, I also really love to compost. By composting, you are 1, reducing food waste, but then 2, reusing your food, because you're making it into something that you can use again in your plants and in your gardening. It's great. I also try my best to use a rag when I can instead of a paper towel. I also try to compost my paper towels, but depending on how many paper towels you use, that can be a lot for a composter. So, you have to have a little bit of balance in your compost bin. But yeah, I try to use rags and that I wash when they're dirty instead of using paper towels, which is just a one use and then throw away thing. And then of course I have my reusable water bottle that I love so much. It's my drink of choice today. My reusable water bottle cuts down on needing to buy single-use plastic bottles. And you can even apply this to your clothing. For instance, socks, they get holes in them. Instead of throwing your socks away, you can reuse them as like cleaning rags, because they just like really easily fit on your hand. Then you just spray your cleaner and then you just clean them. Great for that. Same thing with leftover shirts. They make great rags as well. If you have like a really cool jar from a grocery store, you can use that as a prop jar. Leftover grocery store glass jars make excellent prop jars. Let's move on to our last term, and that is recycling. And recycling is disposing an item in a way that it can be reused and remade into something new. So glass can be broken down and made into something else. Plastics can be recycled, broken down, and made into something else. Paper can be recycled, broken down, and made into something else. Recycling is awesome, and I really encourage everybody to please recycle if you can. I know it is not an option everywhere, but please, if it is an option, I just highly recommend everybody to recycle. And if you are recycling, in addition to recycling, I would just highly encourage everybody to take an extra step and look up the guidelines for your local waste management facility. Every facility is different. One of the fun things of recycling, every facility is different and takes different types of paper and plastics and materials. So it's just really important to know what your recycling facility does and does not take. On top of just recycling in your home, I would really encourage everybody just to utilize local recycling events. Pretty soon, my community is having an electronics recycling event, so my husband and I already have a little bit of computers and such that we are going to go and drop off, because in that event, that company will responsibly recycle the components of a computer, because computers have so many components. They are electronics in general just can have so many components to them. They can be pretty difficult to recycle. So it's awesome that my community has this event for us. So I know I'm saying a lot. I would just encourage everybody to look up and see what recycling events are going on in your community and really take advantage of them. On top of that, I would encourage everybody to take advantage of store drop-off locations. In my area, Targets, they near the entrance/exits usually have bins, and it takes plastic bags, they take cell phones there, they take many other different types of mediums that usual recycling places do not take. So that is really awesome. My husband and I actually now have a rule for ourselves where we do not go to Target unless we have a bag to drop off to responsibly recycle our plastics, because most of it is like plastic bags that we drop off that we don't use, because we do try to use our plastic bags for like kitty litter and such like that, but it is better to responsibly recycle plastic bags. If you are interested more about learning in environmentalism and sustainability, there is a YouTuber named Shelby that I really love to follow. She has a degree in environmental science, and I've just learned so much from her. I will link her channel below, but a motto that she says, or a slogan that she says that I really love is, do your best and advocate for the rest, because really we could only do our best as individuals. In my opinion, it should really be up to the big companies of the world, the Walmarts, the Targets, the big chain grocery stores, to be responsible for the waste that they create, because they create the majority of the waste. We as individuals don't. Corporations do. So advocate. Advocate any way you can, and a big way that you can advocate is by voting. Voting can have such a big influence and impact in your community, your local community, as well as your, what do you call a non-local community? Like your small, like your little town, but as well as like the big community. You know what I'm talking about. So yes, thank you. I'm just gonna leave it there. I will not go on a rant. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope everybody has a great day. Celebrate Earth Day if you can. Cheers.